listening to A Scary State. Sorry, voice is going a little bit because we went to a concert last night. But we're talking about South Dakota today. So, Lauren,
Yes, Kenzie.
are you ready to get scary?
I am.
Woohoo!
So yeah, we went to go see Pierce the Veil, Sleeping with Sirens.
So much fun.
It was so eventful.
A lot of stuff happened. It was really hard to focus.
So like, I don't even understand. Okay, we had a great spot on the hill.
Let's back up. Where we go to concerts, it's like one of those like outdoor places where you have like a giant lawn and then there's like a pavilion, and under the pavilion there's seats.
Yes,
And we were on the lawn.
which we are much too old to do now.
We would have been fine. It's not us that was the problem.
It's
It was the
not.
people that were around us that couldn't seem to handle their shit.
So first off, one of the girls in like the group adjacent to us. So she was part of our group, but like we had joined up with another group and she was part of the other group.
We did a merger of groups.
We did a merger of like 3 groups. So anywho, some people just can't handle their alcohol.
No.
So we had to have, well, we didn't do anything. We just stood there because she wasn't our friend and we did not know her name. So we wouldn't have been any help. Anywho,
We supervised.
we supervised. So
We were there if needed.
the ambulance people, like the paramedics, had to come up with their like ambulance cart and get her on a stretcher and bring her to the medical tent, I assume.
Yes. Which also keep in mind, it's not a flat lawn.
Oh my God, it's a super, super like slopey lawn.
It's a hill. So if you are all of a sudden baby deer walking drunk, you're going to fall down that fucking hill.
And so that happened. And then we got there first. And then this group of 3 people decided to stand directly in front of us, which isn't a big deal. But there's a lot of lawn you can choose from. And I am short.
Yeah.
I am 5'2". Even on a hill, if you are over 5'5" and you stand directly in front of me, I cannot see over your head.
Yes.
So I very nicely asked the dude, "Hi, can you please move? You are blocking my entire view."
Right.
His little girly friend did not like that. I just wanted to...
Lauren almost got in a fight and she was the sober one there.
Anywho,
I ended up pulling her back and putting her in front of me. I can see over your head. Don't get in a fight.
so they ended up getting really, really drunk. One of the guys in the group, again, we're on a very, very hilled, like a sloped thing. He just started to tumble.
Oh my God. I thought at any minute that he was going to tumble all the way down and hit the fence.
But so he gets up and he like wobbles a little and he starts to tumble, like fall backwards, trying to catch himself. He runs into a girl who was down there who was just living her best life at this concert.
She was having so much fun.
She was so cute.
It was adorable.
He gets up the hill again. He falls again. He starts dancing with a girl, tries to kiss her.
Who
She
is not his friend.
No, not his friend. Random girl who was just next to him. He tries to kiss her. She slowly turns her head. We can't stop watching. We have like shows on top of shows here. And then another girl falls.
And like she fell down the stairs.
The concrete stairs.
The concrete stairs.
So ambulance had to come get her as well.
Yes.
Wild night.
And then like because we were like at like essentially almost the bottom of the hill, so about as front as you can get being on the hill.
Unless you're an asshole who goes right in front of your group. But yeah, carry on.
When the other issue that we got distracted by was all the people walking in front of us.
Oh my God, I am the biggest people watcher.
And so I would watch the concert, but if it happened to be a song that I'm not as familiar with, then I would go back to people watching.
And we had a game. You weren't here for the game, but with Ariana, we started to play a game.
Mm.
It was, if there were, okay, so you know how there were like trash cans right in front of us?
Mhm.
Once they passed the trash can, that's when you could count a point. So if they were wearing fishnets, you got a point. If they were wearing a bow or a tie, you got 2 points.
Oh.
If they were wearing, what else? We made it a veil. If they were wearing a veil, they got 5 points.
What about the fuzzy boots?
No, we didn't count the fuzzy boots.
Mm.
But if it was leather, anyone wearing leather, score restarted. And you went back to 0.
Oh, damn.
So we had a lot of fun with that while we were waiting for the concert to start.
That's nice.
And I was
That's
like, ooh, do we count fishnets on the top outfit? Like instead of just like tights, like a top. I guess that counted.
Is it fishnets if it's on top?
No, it looks like fishnets. I think it could be fishnets.
Yeah, because I guess a fishnet would go around the whole fish.
Yeah, other than just on their feet and their legs.
Well, they don't have those.
Exactly.
Oh. I'm just making sure terminology makes sense.
But Jiffy Lube has this really cool thing that they do where if you are the DD, you go up to this little booth. They give you a very bright blue wristband that says designated driver, and then you get a big cup and you can fill it with soda for free the whole night.
Mhm. Except Lauren doesn't
I
drink
don't drink
soda.
sodas, so that was really convenient. I'm more like water, but I did get a Sierra Mist and I had like 4 sips.
It's okay, you were a great designated driver.
Thank you. I was. I took my role very serious.
You drove slow as fuck.
Okay, the roads were so curvy.
Well, that I understood, but once we were on the highway and the main roads,
I drove the speed limit.
yeah, slow as fuck.
I get nervous in someone else's car.
And that's why I didn't say anything in the moment. I said she's doing me a favor. She's driving safely.
In my car.
I know that she's probably nervous, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut about the speed and I'll give her shit tomorrow.
In my car, I can go the speed.
The only
And I'm
time
comfy.
that it was somewhat concerning is when you were going below the speed limit.
I was not going below the speed limit. I don't think you are right.
That's why the people honked at you.
That was at a stoplight.
No, before you got to the stoplight, it was, I think,
No, they honked at the light.
45.
They honked at the light.
Okay.
And it wasn't at me because I was stopped and then we went.
When the people like went around you really fast.
No, that was just an asshole driver.
Because you were going.
No, you're wrong.
Okay.
Who was the sober one? Me.
I wasn't fucked up. I just couldn't drive. There's a difference.
And yeah, I get nervous in other people's cars because I don't know them as well as in my car.
I didn't have an issue until I realized you were going a little bit below the speed
Then you
limit.
should have said something.
I am now, and look at the response I get.
And also with my car, it like will tell me what the speed limit is and then it'll show my speed. So that's how I'm used to looking at what the speed is.
Instead of the speedometer and the speed limit signs?
Yeah. I don't use speed limit signs anymore. I look at my car.
The only time I have that is if I have like a GPS going. Does yours do it?
My car automatically does it on the dashboard.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll tell me how fast I'm going.
Sorry you had to drive my peasant car. And you had to
They've
look at
made
the
a lot of
speedometer.
car advancements in 10 years.
Jesus Christ. Sorry you had to look at the speedometer like as common folk and be aware of the signs and how fast they said to go.
But so, with that being said, I didn't know where the speed limit signs were. There's a lot going on. You're welcome. I got us home safe.
Yeah. Yeah. It took us a while to get home.
There were long distances, but we were smart and we parked at a restaurant that if you spend a certain amount of money, you get a free parking pass. So we parked there and then we did a half-mile walk to the venue.
It did not even feel like half a mile.
No,
I don't think it was half a mile.
No, my watch counted it. By the time we got to the gate, it was like 0.6 miles.
Okay, by the time we got to the gate, yes. But technically the entrance to the venue, I counted when we stepped in what their parking is. Because that's the whole venue.
Yeah.
It was definitely less than half a mile.
Yeah, no, that was great.
Yeah.
But so we got out. We walked back, which again takes like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We got out, no problem.
Yeah.
There were people who we had gotten back to our friend's house, which is like a 35-minute drive, 40-ish minutes.
Yeah.
And people were still at the venue trying to get out of the parking lot.
Yep.
So that is the way we will always do it.
100%.
That was so great.
You know, older and wiser.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And it would have been nice if we could have been on the lawn and relaxed. Because
Yeah.
I like the lawn.
It's great when you're with a good group of people.
Technically, one of those people was not with anyone. The two guys and the girl, they weren't with us.
Oh, the annoying people?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Their presence was there.
The presence was annoying. Their presence integrated into our group.
Yeah. Once our group took care of their friend, everything was fine
Yeah.
until like they were all kind of a little fucked up. I was, one, concerned, how are they getting home?
Yeah.
Two, I was waiting for them to all tumble down the hill
I was too.
because no one could stand up and hold themselves up.
And the whole time we're looking at each other like, thank God that's not us anymore.
Oh my God.
Like when you're young, yeah, it's fun. But I'm at the age where like, I woke up this morning, I feel fine. A little sore, but I don't have like a raging headache.
True.
I don't look back at my actions last night and think, wow, I fucked up.
I also am very big on if I do get fucked up, I'm at home or someone
Mhm.
else's home. I'm not out,
And no one has to take care of you.
ideally.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just making sure my ass got home.
Yeah.
But I've pretty much gotten to a point in my life where, like, unless it's like my birthday or something, and
Yeah.
so therefore it's like kind of planned ahead of time,
Mhm.
I always make sure no matter how drunk I can get myself home.
Yeah.
So
That girl could not.
I don't know if she got home.
We really need an update.
I'll text Ariana.
Okay, good. All right, so should we start talking about South Dakota? Oh, no, wait. Oh, no, yes. We'll do the facts first. Should we do the facts first or should we do our updates on the cases first?
I include my update within my story.
Okay, I didn't. So let me do my update first.
Okay.
So last time we talked about how we wanted to do kind of updates on some of the things that were going on, like present time. So I'm going to cover the potential New England serial killer. Not cover, but I guess talk about it.
Mhm.
What were you covering?
I am doing a case update.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so with this New England serial killer. So we've had a few people who have reached out to us asking if we've heard about the potential serial killer in New England. So I wanted to cover it a little bit, just a very, very shallow dive into it and kind of what's known now as it is a very current event going on.
Yes.
So as recently as May 2nd, 12 bodies, and today is May 25th, 12 bodies had been found, all suspected of foul play. The first body was found in February, so this is just a couple months.
Mhm.
At the beginning, 6 bodies had been found in New England in the span of just 1 month. And for those 6, back up to April, all of the bodies were within a couple hours of each other. So from when the first one was found to April, all 6 of those happened within a month.
And New England is all very close together
Yeah.
because all the states are tiny.
For anyone who's not listening in the US, New England is the northeast part of the United States.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like
13 original colonies.
some of the 13.
Some of them.
But so it makes up like a very small region.
They're teeny tiny states, so it's
Yes.
very quick to get from one state to another.
Yes. So I wanted to go over some of the victims that we know of so far.
Okay.
So, first, a human skull had been found with no age or gender being able to be determined.
Mm.
So, it was found on March 6th in a wooded area off of Route 3 in Plymouth, Massachusetts, by a hunter in a wooded area. I already said wooded area, but that's okay. What was found was the top half of the human skull with its jaw and nasal area missing.
Mm.
Authorities have not released any further details about this one.
Okay.
Then there's Paige Fannin, who was 35, found on March 6th in the Norwalk River in Norwalk, Connecticut. And you can get from Massachusetts to Connecticut very quickly. They
Yes.
touch.
Yes.
She had been reported missing in New York and had last been seen just the day before on March 5th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then an unnamed female who they believe is between the ages of 40 to 60. So on March 19th, authorities recovered a body inside of a suitcase near a cemetery in Gorton. An article on March 25th mentioned that this body being found. So if it's the same one, because I read a couple different articles, this body belonged to 58-year-old Suzanne Wormster. Her 68-year-old roommate, Donald Kovler, was arrested and charged with her murder.
Okay, so she's not part of it.
Technically not.
Okay.
Gorton Police Chief David Burton said that this particular killing was a targeted crime and not the work of a serial killer.
Okay.
So though we can technically say it's not her, she still kind of fell within.
Kind of like the Great Basin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Then there's Denise Leary, 59. Her remains were found in a wooded area near a home in New Haven on March 20th. New Haven, Connecticut, by the way.
Mhm.
The remains were in an advanced state of decay when they were found. On March 25th, the remains were confirmed to be Leary's. She had actually been missing since September, and police claimed that she had been suffering from paranoid schizophrenia.
Mm.
Then there's Megan Meredith, 45. She was found on March 22nd. Meredith is from Springfield, Massachusetts. Her body was found along a bike path.
How old is she?
45.
Okay. I was going to say they all seem to be older.
Yeah. I think it does keep going on kind of that trend.
Mhm.
Michelle Romano. The body of Romano was found on March 26th, 8 months after she was reported missing. Her remains were found in Forester, Rhode Island in a wooded area. Investigators began looking into the suspicious circumstances surrounding her death.
Do we know her age?
56.
Okay.
Then we have another unnamed individual, no age, no gender. So unidentified human remains were found in Killingly, Connecticut.
That's a terrible name.
I know. Yeah, it's really not good. But at the time of this particular article, which was April 15th, there was no information to suggest any connections. And this one was in the very, very early stages of an investigation. So we don't
Okay.
really have more on that. 2 bodies were found in the woods in Salem, Massachusetts. Jay Blodgett was later arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. Police said there is no known link to any other deaths, so they don't believe that this guy is linked to any of the other deaths.
Do they think that all the other deaths are linked?
They aren't saying yet,
Okay.
but they're saying specifically if they happen to be linked in the future, this guy is not linked to them.
Okay.
Then we have Samuel Stovell, 51. He was found on March 25th in Taunton.
Is that the first male?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Authorities have said that his death hasn't been deemed suspicious. Then there's Stephen Myers, 39. He had been shot one time and was found behind a high school. He had no
Ooh.
connection to this school. So I know that was only a couple names. As I find the names of others, I'll try to share them.
Mhm.
And like cases that we do, we think it's important to be informed and to know the names of those who have been found.
Yeah.
So the towns that the bodies have been found in have been Springfield, Massachusetts, Framingham, Plymouth, and Taunton, Massachusetts, Rocky Hill, New Haven, Norwich, Gorton, and Killingly, Connecticut, Foster, and Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
So really all right there.
Yeah. All just in that little area. Hampton District Attorney Anthony D. Deloney downplays any concerns that there might be a serial killer.
Of course.
He had a good quote that I wanted everyone to keep in mind. Quote, while online conversations around these incidents continue to grow, we urge the public to be mindful of the role that social media can play in spreading fear and misinformation. Unverified claims can compromise active investigations and contribute to a sense of chaos that does not reflect the full picture.
100%.
So currently, as of May 2nd, the investigation is still in the preliminary stages of gathering information and evidence and trying to establish a nexus between the crime scenes and the individuals involved.
Okay.
Authorities continue to urge the public not to spread information online. So all of the information I have shared has been from articles.
Yes.
Those articles can be viewed in our show notes.
Mhm.
So we are also not spreading information. We are just sharing what
This is
out
what's
there.
going on right now.
Yeah. So yeah, just wanted to give a little update on
I think
that.
twofold. One, I think it's fair that when you find a lot of bodies in a small-ish area
Yeah.
back to back to back,
It's concerning.
it's concerning. And it's fair to think, okay, if we're finding all of these at once, well, not at once, but relatively close together.
Between February and May.
Right. Does that mean that there's a pattern there?
Right.
Or is it just coincidence?
Correct.
The woods are a pretty good place if you're going to dispose of someone to dispose of. And it's not like that's a secret.
Right. And it's like 3 of the women whose bodies were found had been missing for days or months before they were finally found.
Right.
So that also adds a whole new layer, like, because it's been going on since September, because
Right.
the one person went missing in September and was
Yes.
found in March.
Yes.
So it's like, are these, has something been going on since September?
Right.
It's just now coming out now. Like, we don't know.
Right.
So,
Or it's all just happenstance.
Yeah.
And someone decided, oh, wait a minute, here are all these things happening.
right.
And put it together and put out, like, is there a serial killer?
Right. Like, how connected are we?
Right. Like, would we have even thought of this had someone, whoever, because obviously it's not the police,
Correct.
saw all these new articles and was like, wait a minute, all these bodies are being found in a very short amount of time in a relatively the same area,
Yeah.
in relatively the same location. Serial killer.
Right. But yeah, I mean, so we won't know
Yeah.
for a while. Again, the investigations are all in the very, very early stages. And if there is some connection, I'm sure we'll hear about it.
Sure.
But as of right now, they're not looking towards the serial killer theory. They're just kind of what's going on.
I think that's probably, until you get something that definitively can connect one to the other,
Yeah,
you don't want to make any assumptions.
exactly. Because then you're also narrowing your view.
Yes.
And then that's not a good thing either.
Correct. Absolutely. So that's that.
That's that.
That's, yeah.
All right. State facts of South Dakota?
Yeah, I'll do my case update before I start my story. That's kind of how I planned it.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, no, that works.
Yeah.
All right. So at the end of the 19th century, the U.S. government viewed the ghost dance movement, a spiritual revival among the Lakota Sioux, as a threat. On December 29th, 1890, U.S. soldiers from the 7th Cavalry surrounded a Lakota camp at Wounded Knee Creek under orders to disarm them. Of course, disarm. A shot was fired, by whom remains unclear, and chaos erupted. Soldiers opened fire with rifles, and Hotchkiss guns, slaughtering an estimated 250 to 300 Lakota, many of them women and children. Despite the massacre, soldiers were awarded medals of honor. The site remains a powerful symbol of Indigenous resistance and tragedy.
Yeah, that 7th Cavalry would be Custard.
Oh,
Mustard, whatever the fuck his
he
name is.
comes up a lot.
Well, he led all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been mentioned in quite a few states.
Yeah, he was the one in charge of, like, getting the Native Americans out of the land that America wanted to take.
In November 1973, 5 teens from Sioux Falls, brothers Stuart and Dana Bad, I should know these names.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Roger Asim, Michael Hadrath, and Sandra Chesky went camping at Gitche-Manitou State Preserve. That night, three brothers, Alan, James, and David Fryer, lured them out with fake law enforcement claims and opened fire. 4 of the teens were killed. Sandra, just 13, was abducted and raped, but survived to identify the killers. The sheer cruelty of the crime, especially against such young victims, stunned both Iowa. See, that's why I said Iowa.
Yes.
And South Dakota, where the teens had lived and gone to school. You can hear about this in episode 113, which is technically our Iowa episode,
But it talks about it.
talks about Iowa and South Dakota. Lavina Fire Thunder was a young Lakota woman who went missing under suspicious circumstances on the Pine Ridge Indian Reserve. This month, May, is actually Missing Indigenous Women's Month.
Oh.
Missing and killed Indigenous. I can't remember
Missing
what.
and murdered.
Missing and murdered Indigenous women. Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
That's actually the month of May.
Okay.
So
There you go.
just wanted to throw
Bunch of
that out.
M's.
Yeah. Okay, so she went missing under suspicious circumstances on the Pine Ridge Indian Reserve. While the exact details of her disappearance and murder remain shrouded in mystery, her case is emblematic of a much larger issue, the epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women. Wow, I should have kept reading. In the U.S., Indigenous women face violence at disproportionately high rates, yet their cases often go unsolved or receive minimal attention from authorities. Lavina's story is one of those whose family and community still seek justice. Did you hear my voice crack?
No.
Oh, goodness. Deadwood, South Dakota boomed in the 1870s during the Black Hills Gold Rush. Lawlessness reigned supreme, and the town attracted gamblers, gunslingers, and outlaws. Most famously, James Butler, Wild Bill Hitchcock, was shot in the back of the head.
Hickcock. There's no CH.
Hickok was shot in the back of the head while holding a poker hand, now known as the dead man's hand. Do we know what that poker hand is?
No, because I just typed into ChatGPT what are dark history stories from South Dakota.
Oh,
and
yeah, you weren't able to do your additional research.
I didn't get a chance to fact check any of this. So,
I'm going to look it up real quick.
okay.
What is the dead man's hand in poker? Okay, it refers to a 2-pair hand of aces and eights, specifically the ace of spades and clubs and the eights of spades and clubs.
Oh. It's a good hand. Well, kind of. There's definitely,
now it's the dead man's hand.
well, and for a lot of, out of all the hands, a 2-pair,
Of all the hands.
it's kind of low on the ranking of hands that win things.
But an ace is good.
Yeah, if someone else has 2-pair too, then you win because you have the ace, but
Yeah,
it's just still 2-pair. If I got a flush, I'd kick his ass.
that's true.
So,
Brothels, bar fights, and vigilante justice were common, and the lack of formal law enforcement made it a haven for crime. Despite its modern tourist appeal, Deadwood's origins are steeped in bloody violence and corruption. Emma Kaufman's death in Sioux Falls became a sensation in the early 1900s. She died suddenly under suspicious circumstances in a boarding house where she lived with her husband, a pharmacist. An autopsy suggested poisoning. Her husband, Dr. Kaufman, was accused but eventually acquitted. Rumors spread that he had used his pharmaceutical access to slowly poison her. The case highlighted how scientific limitations of the time allowed possible crimes to go unresolved and sparked public fear of domestic poisoning. Ooh, domestic poisoning is a creepy way to say it.
mm-hmm.
Spokane,
Yeah.
Spokane.
Okay.
I got in trouble once for saying Spokane.
got in trouble.
Well, we had someone message message us and we're like, "Hey, I'm saying this nicely, but you said it so wrong." And I'm like, "I'm sorry." Spokane,
Okay.
once a thriving gold and silver mining town in the Black Hills, now sits eerily abandoned.
And it is very creepy.
Yeah, we looked at pictures
It's scary.
to make sure we were pronouncing it right. During its boom in the early 1900s, Spokane was filled with miners and fortune seekers. But as the mines dried up, the people vanished. Buildings were left to decay. Today, rusted mining equipment, collapsing cabins, and silence dominate the area. Some believe the town is haunted. Visitors report cold spots, ghostly figures, and unexplained noises. Spokane stands as a chilling reminder of how quickly prosperity can turn into desolation.
And I looked it up to make sure that this was for sure talking about Spokane, South Dakota, not how to pronounce it.
Okay, well, it's talking about the right place.
So hopefully they say Spokane the way that Spokane, Washington says Spokane.
Yeah. If not,
And I would just like to say in our defense, I saw a TikTok where it was like this baseball team out of Oklahoma, and they were asking all the players, majority of whom were not from Oklahoma, pronounce the town. And they pretty much all got it wrong, except for the one guy from fucking Oklahoma.
yeah.
So I'm just like,
Come to Virginia and look at some of the towns.
I think our towns are a lot easier.
Fuck here.
Yeah, that one sucks. I hate saying that one, especially around kids, because I'm like, it definitely sounds like I'm saying fuck you.
And then Norfolk. I
Yep,
can never say it right.
That one's a slippery slope. Norfolk, that's how you say it.
Okay. I always get nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Each state has their own things. And then Massachusetts, my God.
And it's not out of disrespect. It's just that
It's just we didn't grow there.
we didn't grow up
so
there.
We don't know.
We're going with what we've been taught, which is to read things phonetically.
And then we even listen to it online, and sometimes you get 5 different ways to pronounce it online.
Yeah.
So we try our best.
Thank you to the person who said I'm saying this nicely, but
Right?
we will take that.
We will. In the Roaring 20s, even small towns weren't safe from organized crime. Mobridge, located on the Missouri River, and Missouri could be a weird word too.
Missouri.
And Illinois. Okay.
Arkansas is terrible.
Arkansas.
Because you have Arkansas, then you got Kansas. And it's not Arkansas.
Okay, so Mobridge, located on the Missouri River, experienced one of the most violent bank robberies in South Dakota history. Armed bandits stored the bank in broad daylight, injuring several people during their escape. Witnesses described them fleeing on horseback, Wild West style, and despite intense manhunts, the culprits were never identified. The incident left lasting scars in the community and emphasized the reach for criminal networks even in rural America. During the Cold War, South Dakota became home to dozens of Minutemen missile silos, part of the U.S. nuclear arsenal designed for rapid response. Hidden under the prairie were nuclear warheads aimed at the Soviet Union. Towns like Wall and Interior. Awful names. Sorry if you live there. I apologize, but okay, they had silos nearby, and locals lived with the terrifying knowledge that they were essentially living targets. The Minutemen Missile National Historic Site now offers tours of one such silo, providing a sobering look at a time when the world teetered on the edge of annihilation. I would actually be really interested to go take a tour of one of those.
Every time I hear about shit like this, I cannot not think of the video End of the World. And all the missiles.
Fires and missiles.
All the missiles flying at each other.
Hey, what's up?
That's all I picture.
Robert Leroy Anderson was a factory worker in southeastern South Dakota who became one of the state's most infamous criminals. In the 1990s, he kidnapped and murdered at least 2 women, Larissa Demonsky and Piper Striley. Anderson was known to stalk women and had even constructed a homemade torture device. His trial revealed a chilling level of planning and sadism.
You were about to say sadism.
I was. He was sentenced to death in 1999 and died by suicide in prison in 2003. His case shook South Dakota and drew national attention to the dangers of stalkers and repeat offenders. You can hear about that in episode 43. Sika Hollow, located in the northeastern part of the state, has long been considered sacred and sinister by the Dakota Sioux. The name Sika means evil in the Dakota language, and stories of supernatural activity have been told for generations. The hollow is known for its red-tinted stream, believed to be stained by iron, but thought by some to be blood. Legends tell of ghost warriors, glowing eyes, and the screams of lost souls. Some hikers report feeling watched, hearing whispers, or even seeing spectral figures among the trees. And we covered that in episode 188.
There you go.
So there you go for South Dakota.
Hopefully all those aren't bullshit.
What can we do?
You can kindly let us know.
Yes, kindly.
Kindly let us know.
And before we get scary...
Do you love true crime and travel? Having traveled the world solo the last couple of years and being obsessed with true crime, I found myself researching others who took the same vacations but never made it home. The Last Trip is a true crime podcast covering missing and murdered people that were living their best lives on vacation. I'm your host, Jamie Beebe, and each week I'll bring you on The Last Trip, taking a deep dive into vacation culture and travel spots, tips on staying alive while traveling, and ultimately recreating someone's last days in paradise. What led to their last trip? What are the hard facts? What is the final outcome? And could you be next? David Snedden was a 24-year-old college student from Utah attending Mandarin classes in Beijing when he mysteriously disappeared while hiking Tiger Leaping Gorge. Chinese authorities said he drowned in the gorge, and U.S. authorities agreed, although his body was never found and his parents didn't believe that. 7 years later, out of the blue, they got a phone call from a former U.S. official who had evidence David is still alive. This case sounds like a Hollywood movie, but evidence doesn't lie. So where is David Snedden? Famous rugby player and Celebrity X Factor contestant Levi Davis went missing in Barcelona last year while on a backpacking trip through Europe. Just days before he vanished, he posted a 15-minute video to his Instagram account saying his life was in danger and people were after him. After he disappeared, several theories emerged. But what really happened to Levi Davis? Join me, Jamie Beebe, co-host of the popular true crime series Strictly Stalking, as I embark on a brand new adventure combining true crime and travel. Listen to The Last Trip wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Mackenzie, what do you got for us?
All right, so today I am bringing you a case update from our last West Virginia episode, which is episode 127. And then afterwards, I will go into my story for South Dakota.
Okay.
For West Virginia, this was a case that we had gotten from someone who follows us on Instagram, friend of the show. Bex had sent us this story. This girl had gone missing. Her name is Gretchen Fleming. At the time, she was 28. She disappeared in the early morning hours of December 4th, 2022, and her family reported her missing on December 12th. And she was last seen leaving the My Way Lounge and Restaurant in downtown Parkersburg. She also had left her purse there. An investigation had been going on, and they did have a person of interest.
Did we know who that person was? Did you cover them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Preston Pierce.
Oh, right. Yep.
He had told police in early 2023 that Fleming was in his car, but then he stopped cooperating. He used to have the name of Daryl Lott. He also worked as a police officer in several cities and towns in West Virginia.
Right. Yep. It's all coming back.
So her family pretty much believes that he is responsible. However, so far there's been no evidence. In November of 2024, according to Metro News Television, FBI agents and Parkersburg police executed a search warrant at the former residence of a man believed to be a person of interest in the 2022 disappearance of Gretchen, and it was Preston Pierce's home, or where he used to live. I don't think he still lives there. Parkersburg Police Chief Matthew Board released a statement. Quote, "We are thankful for FBI's ongoing assistance throughout this investigation. They have assisted in various capacities from the beginning, though there is no new information to be released at this time. The execution of this search warrant is a continuation of the investigatory process. Our agency remains dedicated to utilizing all available resources and investigative strategies to fulfill our commitment to seeking justice for Gretchen Fleming and providing answers for the Fleming family. The search warrant conducted today is part of that effort." And then most recently, on February 16th of 2025, so a week ago.
February 16th?
Sorry, May.
Okay, that's a week ago.
Sorry, May 16th. The FBI had sent out basically a new kind of hey, let us know if you have information. So kind of I don't know what that would be called.
APB, all point bulletin.
No, but obviously they had been asking for information, but then they decided on this day too to kind of put it back out there again.
Okay, good.
Hey, we're still looking for information. If you have anything, please let us know.
Right.
And they also, I think, officially put out a missing poster for her that's officially
They hadn't done one before?
I think she had them, family made them and things like that. But
so this is an official.
Yeah, the FBI made an official flyer.
Oh, wow.
For a missing person and for her specifically. She also wasn't reported until 8 days later when her family members couldn't find her.
Mm-hmm.
She had gone out and didn't come back home, but it wasn't very bizarre.
Right.
It
Yeah.
wasn't until, like, her dad had come into town and was, like, trying to get in contact her, and he couldn't.
Right. Yeah.
And then he went to the grandparents and was like, "Have you seen her?" And they're like, No."
Mm-hmm.
And so they went to go look for her, and then they couldn't find her. So FBI, according to this article from Eyewitness News, Fox 11, I don't know what local station that's for, but it says FBI and local law enforcement searched multiple properties belonging to Preston Pierce, who, like I said, is a person of interest in the case, but they have not released if they found anything and or what they found.
Yeah.
He's still hasn't been arrested, but it does say a reward of at least $100,000 remains available for anyone who provides information that leads to an arrest in the case.
Wow.
So if you have any information, you can contact the FBI field office in Pittsburgh.
Oh.
If you have any information concerning this person, please contact your local FBI office or the nearest American embassy or consulate. And that's from the field office in Pittsburgh. So you don't have to necessarily call like West Virginia or whatever.
Right.
If you have information, you can call your local FBI office, and I'm sure they will send you to who
you need to go to.
you need to go to.
But yeah, good updates.
So that's the latest update with her.
And I think we can do periodic updates as well, as we kind of have been doing already.
Yeah. So we have, the prime suspect is still the prime suspect.
Mm-hmm.
They did execute some search warrants. What was found, we're not sure. We do know that he admitted to her being in the car. And so I think he's still like top of their list.
Yeah.
The person who messaged us about this case in the first place, she had also mentioned too, she is really great about sending updates too.
Yes. Yeah, she is.
Which is I'm super appreciative of. And so she's been really like on top of things and like helping with like keeping us informed. And I know that like there have been other complaints from women about this guy and his creepiness and ickiness.
But of course, that wasn't listened to until something actually happened.
Right. So they still have not found her either. It's still
My
a missing person.
gosh.
Like they haven't found her or anything like that. So partial information of an arrest and also information if you know where she is.
Yeah.
So that is that update.
Jeez.
Yeah. So for my South Dakota story, I do have a slight trigger warning because my story does include topics like domestic violence.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to start this off with the script, or not the script, the record. I don't know what to call it.
Okay.
Of the 911 call or of a 911.
Oh, okay.
Okay. 911 dispatcher says 911. Not Ross. The victim, I'll get to her in a second. Help me, please. I've been killed.
Oh.
911. What's wrong with you? Hello? Victim, I need, and then it's inaudible after that. Dispatcher, hello? Hello? Victim says something that can't be determined. 911 says, hold on. The victim says, I've been stabbed to death. My baby, help me. I've been killed. I have a little baby. Please help me. Dispatcher, what happened, ma'am? Victim, I've been stabbed. You've been stabbed? Yes, help. Okay, where were you stabbed at? All over? All over. I've been stabbed to death. Okay, someone's on there. Please help me. Someone's on their way. Who stabbed you? Couldn't be determined, but thinks that the victim had said he had.
Okay.
Dispatcher, who? Victim, I don't know. Where did it happen at? In my home. In your home? Are they still there? They're gone. They're gone? How long ago did they leave? I don't know. Please help me. Okay, they're on their way. I'm dying. Oh God. Is this Mary Ross? Yes. Do you live at 3203 West 43rd Street? I have a baby. You have a baby there? I'm going to fall. I'm going to fall. Is the baby there? Hello? Mary? Dispatchers talk to each other. One says she's not on the phone anymore. She said that she was going to fall down. So hearing the 911 call in court was described as, quote, Mary Kay Ross pleaded, fighting for breath and gurgling as though she were drowning.
Oh.
Her attackers had plunged a knife through her left cheek and into her voice box. Mary Kay Ross, 25, of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, was stabbed 16 times in the head and upper torso in her third-floor apartment. Her 14-month-old daughter, Kristen, was in her crib, awake and unharmed when police arrived. So I don't know if she goes by Mary Kay. I had heard someone say Mary Kay.
Okay.
Or if she just went by Mary.
Mm-hmm.
In the newspaper, though, they all go by her last name.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
All right.
So I'm going to call her Mary Kay.
I have a Mary Kay in my story, too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Officer James Pope, the first one at the crime scene, later testified that he found Mary Kay's apartment door open a crack. When he went in, he found Mary Kay lying in her bedroom in a pool of blood. Mary Kay told him 2 men she didn't know stabbed her.
Oh, so she's still alive.
At this point.
Oh.
When he asked for more information, she just pleaded, "Help me, help me." The Sioux Falls ambulance paramedic, Peter Heinrich, testified that he remembers blood being everywhere in the apartment. He recalled that Mary Kay said, "They just kept stabbing me." He also testified that, quote, "It was a hysterical kind of talking, kind of screaming, kind of hysterical." Mary Kay had gone into cardiac arrest before they even left the apartment.
Oh, no.
And passed.
Yeah.
The mini ha-ha?
Okay.
County coroner Dr. Brad Randall showed pictures of Mary Kay's wounds to the jury. It showed the puncture and slash wounds that extended from her face to her abdomen. The attackers had pierced her voice box, lungs, liver, vertebrae, an artery, and in the back.
Oh.
There had been a total of 6 knives used in the attack. They had used the original 2 that they had brought with them, and then, when those broke, they went to her kitchen and continued stabbing her with her own steak knives.
How is this a ha-ha?
What?
What did you say? Mini ha-ha?
That's the name of the county.
Oh, I thought we were going to laugh.
No.
I thought you had a joke. And I was waiting.
No, that's the name of the county. It's spelled Minnehaha.
Because I was like, nothing you said was funny.
Oh my God. No. That's the name of the county. I might also be pronouncing it wrong. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Oh no. Okay.
That's the name of the county. Is Minnehaha. There's no Minnehaha's in this entire story.
I was like, great, we're getting it at the beginning. Like, this is a weird place to put a joke, but okay.
No jokes. There's no ha-haing at all.
Oh boy, okay.
All sad.
All sad.
All sad. So who were these violent criminals who attacked Mary Kay? Was this a random attack or was it planned? Mary Kay Ross was a paralegal student at National College in Sioux Falls, today known as National American University. She also was a graduate of La Junta High School in Colorado, class of 1988. Her greatest joy in the world was her baby girl, 14-month-old Kristen Kay, who was sadly present during her mother's gruesome murder that night in her apartment in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
So did the police or authorities take her out of there after? Okay.
She's with family now.
Okay.
She's with her grandparents in Colorado.
Okay.
During their investigation, police discovered Mary Kay Ross and Amy Power were friends living in Sioux Falls, South Dakota during the mid-1990s. I can't remember if I said when this was happening, but it was 1995.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think you mentioned that.
Okay, it's 1995.
Okay.
Amy Power was experiencing marital difficulties and, with her child, moved in with Mary Ross for support. Those that were close to Mary Kay shared that Mary Kay believed that Amy was in an abusive relationship. Mary Kay's great aunt, Jo Meyer, said, quote, "I think it was the consensus of the family that Amy was probably in an abusive relationship with her husband." Mary Kay's brother shared a similar statement. Quote, "I was told the last time I talked to my sister that it was a real bad relationship with a lot of domestic violence." Investigators arrived at the crime scene within the hour of the murder and quickly compiled a list of potential suspects based on information from Ross's address book and tips from informants. It was discovered that Robert Power, Amy's allegedly abusive husband, was angry with Mary Kay Ross because he believed that she was interfering with his marriage. He also accused Mary Kay of smoking marijuana in front of his child.
And how old's his child?
I think toddler.
Oh, okay.
Toddler age. He also did meth, so.
Okay, yeah, because meth is so much better.
Just, like I said, there are no ha-has.
Yeah.
On August 1st, 1995, so, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I didn't include these dates. I apologize. This happened July 9th.
Okay.
Or like late July 8th, early July 9th of 1995.
Okay, was when what happened?
when she was killed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's the timeline we're looking at.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
August 1st is about a month later.
Gotcha.
That's why I was like, oh crap, I forgot to give all the important dates to the story.
No
My
year, no
apologies.
month.
No year, no month.
We only know where.
So, July 9th, 1995.
Okay.
On August 1st, 1995, detectives began bringing in those suspects for questioning. As authorities located them, many arrived at the police station around the same time, an unintentional but significant coincidence. They are placed in separate interview rooms, some equipped with recording devices and others not. Detectives moved between rooms as new details emerged about the crime. That same day, after waiving their Miranda rights, both Eric Kuhn and Robert Poppin independently confessed to Mary Kay's murder.
Interesting.
Later that evening, Michael Smith told investigators that Power, as in Amy Power's husband, not Amy,
Her husband.
her husband, had hired Kuhn and Poppin to carry out the killing. He planned it so that it was when Amy was out of town.
Mm.
Originally, Power had asked Smith to do it for $10,000, but he declined. However, Smith introduced Power to Kuhn and Poppin and was like, I won't do it, but they will.
Yeah.
Kuhn and Poppin were provided with Power's automobile, money to purchase supplies to commit the crime, a map of Mary Kay's apartment, parking area, and a key to her
Oh
apartment.
my God. How do you have a key? Oh, maybe because his wife's best friends.
We'll get there
Okay.
right now. About a week before Mary Kay was killed, she told her apartment maintenance manager that she was missing a set of keys to the apartment.
Oh, no.
She told him that a friend of hers had been staying with her and lost a set of keys to the apartment and was looking to see if anyone had turned anything in. He told her that no keys were turned to the office, and I believe she put in a request to get her locks changed. Sadly, this request was never filled. An affidavit of Sherry Smith, Mary Kay's mother, states that she spoke with Mary Kay 3 days before the murder, and Ross told her that she had requested a lock change. Mary Kay told her she needed money to pay for the lock change, and she detected fear in Mary Kay's voice, and Mary Kay refused to discuss the Robert and Amy Power situation, telling her mother, quote, I do not want to talk about him. He's psycho.
Wow.
Kuhn and Poppin were to receive $10,000 each for killing Ross. I saw other reports that claimed it was $10,000 or 2 pounds of methamphetamine.
Oh, great.
Court records said Kuhn and Poppin believed their acts would make people fear them and provide a boost to their egos.
You can't be feared much if you're in jail.
Poppin claimed that for him and Kuhn, it was all about, quote, power and money.
Men are disgusting.
Yes. After the stabbing, Kuhn and Poppin gave Power the apartment key and he threw it on the lawn of the XL Inn off of West Russell Street. 2 days after the murder, Michael Smith and 18-year-old Walter Reed Kraft Jr. threw Kuhn's bloody clothing into a garbage can outside of Kraft's apartment.
Oh my gosh.
Over the next 3 weeks, Kuhn and Poppin asked Power nearly every night for their money. In the end, they received no more than the $50 given to them to purchase the knives and gloves, though they were convinced Power would pay them as he, quote, seemed like a nice enough person when they contracted him to kill Mary Kay.
Right. Because only nice people do that.
Correct. They proceeded to use the funds provided to them to enter a Hy-Vee grocery store and purchase 2 knives, 2 pairs of gloves, cigarettes, soda, and a frying pan to give to Poppin's girlfriend, as Poppin reasoned, quote, it would look kind of fishy if we just went in and bought knives and gloves.
It just looks even weirder that you threw a frying pan in there.
Yeah. So here are all the players and what they ended up being charged with. So these were the ones charged with murder. Robert Power, 21. Charges.
He was only 21.
All of these guys are very young.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Charges murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The prosecutor said he offered $10,000 to Michael Smith to kill Mary Kay. Smith hooked Power up with Robert Poppin and Eric Kuhn. He also had other charges for burglary, property damage, and grand theft.
Just other instances of these? Wow.
Robert Dale Poppin, 22. His charges were murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The prosecutor said he killed Ross after Power offered $10,000. He also had other charges of burglary. Eric James Kuhn, 19. Charges murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Again, Ross... He killed Ross after Power had offered the $10,000.
He can't even legally drink alcohol.
Yeah, he also had 2 counts of petty theft. They're uncertain who did majority of the killing, Poppin or Kuhn.
But I don't think in that case it really matters.
No. And then there's 2 people who are just charged with conspiracy. So there's Michael Smith, who's 21, who has a 16-year-old girlfriend.
Gross.
Yes. His charge is conspiracy to commit murder, accessory to commit murder after the fact. Prosecutors say he turned down Power's request to kill Ross for $10,000, but introduced Paupin and Kuhn to Power. He also had grand theft, 2 counts, a drug possession, and burglary. He had actually just gotten out of the state penitentiary and was on probation.
Oh my God. That's really violating probation.
Yep. And then Walter Reed Kraft Jr., he's 18. His charge, conspiracy to commit murder and an accessory to commit murder after the fact.
They're so young.
Prosecutors say that he helped to dispose of Kuhn's bloody clothing in a trash bin at his apartment. And he also had charges of petty theft, receiving stolen property, probation violation, and escape. In the end, I think he only got like 2 years.
Jeez.
However, in conclusion, the court decided in 1995 the length of sentences for Eric Kuhn, Robert Power, Michael Smith, and Robert Paupin would be life without parole, and this was in exchange for the death penalty being taken off the table.
Wow.
And I believe Mary Kay's family, I don't know if they were successful, but I do know that they tried to sue the apartment complex for not having changed the locks.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if they were successful because they were trying to determine if she had put in the request and therefore if they didn't fulfill it, that could directly lead to her being killed. Then yes, they win that case.
Right.
But even if she put in the request, if they can't direct it to that being the difference of whether or not she would have died,
I
then
see.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not 100% sure how that turned out, but I do know that that's what they tried to do. And that is the murder for hire story of Mary Kay Ross. And in the entire research that I did, I could not find a single statement by her bestie, Amy.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get that's a hard position for Amy to be in,
Yeah.
with it being her husband and her best friend, but like, your best
You
friends
were
are usually
staying
there.
with your best friend.
Exactly.
Because you were afraid of your husband.
Right. And then this is what happens to your best friend after she was there to protect you.
Right. And there's 2 possible theories on how he got a key. Earlier in the year, I don't know who gave it to him, but someone had given him the key. It was either Amy or Mary.
Who gave him the key?
Yeah, to make a copy for like Amy's babysitter for Mary's apartment. And so some believe
Why would she have given it to him?
that I think it was Amy who gave him the key to make the copy.
Oh.
For the babysitter. And then some people believe that he could have made a copy for himself.
Well, yeah.
Or when Amy lost her keys and that key was on it.
My feeling with that, I don't know if this is right, but did she maybe, my thought, she had keys to her best friend's apartment to live there. Her husband is scary, intimidated her to give him the keys.
It's
And
possible.
then she lost them.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know.
That's sad.
Yeah.
And very, very violent.
Very violent, very sad. A lot of pathetic people involved.
Yeah.
I just find it very interesting. And maybe I didn't look hard enough. I didn't read every single article I found on it, but I read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them even said, Amy could not be contacted for a statement or whatever. And I'm like, your best friend was helping you.
Yeah.
And trying to help keep you safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then your husband murdered her because of it.
And you can't give a statement.
And you can't say anything?
Yeah, that's not a good look.
No. And yeah, no, it's not. So the results were pretty quick.
Yeah.
I figured it out relatively fast. So that's why it's a little bit of a shorter story. But
Oof.
And the other thing too is I think that the Powers had like bought some sort of business from someone, like a friend, and within like a couple months that business was in the trash.
Well, because they're 21.
Right. So to believe that this man would have $10,000 to be able to give you.
And he's 21.
Right. Is just stupid.
Yeah.
And to then think that he was a nice guy as he's contracting you to kill
Right.
someone.
Oh, he was a great guy. Yeah, we were contracted for a murder, but he was a very nice guy to work with.
A lot of the articles I saw too were talking about the fact, 1, that everyone was so young, and 2, that everyone was strung out on meth. And like how this
great decision-making skills when you're on
Right. And how there's this, what is it, epidemic
Could be, yeah.
for young people with doing drugs and things like that were in a lot of the articles. Just talking about like this, using this as a example of how the drugs can affect you and decision making and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, yeah.
And, they talked about how people just don't care and things like that. And so they didn't get anything except for those $50. And even then, that was spent on supplies.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yep. That is the sad murder of Mary Kay. No ha-has.
No small ha-has.
No small ha-has. Not even a mini ha-ha.
Not
That
even a
can't be
ha.
how you say the county's name,
It can't be.
but that's exactly how it's spelled.
Like M-I-N-I, ha-ha.
Minniehaha.
Oh, yeah.
Mini ha-ha.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Minnie Mouse, ha-ha. So, sorry for the confusion earlier.
Thank you.
It's the county's name. Probably because I said mini ha-ha, and then there was a pause because I was like, did I say that right? And then I said county coroner.
Oh, yeah. No, no,
Yeah. Just fair.
Yeah, yep.
I see.
Well, nice job covering it.
Yeah. So say no if someone wants you to murder somebody.
Especially if they're on meth.
Say no to murder and drugs.
Dare or drug abuse resistant education.
There you go. What's spooky to you, porn, Lauren?
All right, so I hope this one isn't too well known. I've heard about it before, but I didn't know all of the details, and I don't know if you would know it, so I'm just going to go on. All right.
Well, and we're also, it's South Dakota. Not very much is going on.
Sorry, guys. It was very
So
hard.
it's probably getting close to the point where we're just going to have to do some stuff that people know about.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
else, or else we don't do South Dakota.
And we can't leave South Dakota
We
out.
can't leave South Dakota out. That's not nice.
So this is the story of Pamela Jackson and Cheryl Miller.
I don't know.
All right, Pamela Jackson and Cheryl Miller were just two of many young juniors who attended Vermilion High School. Pamela and Cheryl were good girls. They didn't drink, they didn't do drugs, and they didn't typically go to parties. But the school year was almost over, and when they heard about a local party that was going to be at a local quarry, they decided it would be fun to go. So on May 20,
Teenagers party in the weirdest places.
we used to party in like open fields.
I'm just, exactly.
down by a riverbank.
That proves my point.
Exactly.
Teenagers party in weird places.
It's so weird. So on May 29th, 1971, Pamela Jackson and Cheryl Miller decided to head to the party in a gravel pit/quarry in Union County. The two girls were going to follow a group of their friends who were in another vehicle to the party, but they were also given the directions just in case they got separated on the way.
Good.
Pat Gale, Steve Glass, and Mark Logderman were in the first car. Pamela and Cheryl were following in Cheryl's grandfather's 1960 Stubacker Lark. It's a car.
I assume.
And behind Pamela and Cheryl were Ken Millott and Mary Kay Larson.
Look at
Yeah.
that.
The boys up ahead were driving north when they realized they missed the turn for the gravel lots. They had to turn around. Now, with them heading south back towards the party, they no longer were able to see the headlights of the girls' car. Knowing about how the girls rarely partied, the boys thought that the girls had probably turned around and had headed home. Ken and Mary said that they saw the Stubacker turn left away from the gravel pit rather than right. They also thought the same thing, that Pamela and Cheryl ultimately decided to head home. Ken, Mary Kay, and the boys from the first car all arrived at the party, but Pamela and Cheryl never showed up. Earlier that night would end up being the last time that the girls were seen alive.
Oh.
When the next day rolled around and neither Pamela or Cheryl were home, their family started to worry. Both families knew that their daughters had been out partying the night before, but they should have been home by now. A search was launched. For the next few weeks, volunteers and law enforcement officers searched the gravel pit, surrounding roads, and even the nearby Missouri River, but all of the efforts yielded nothing. Eventually, the case went cold as there were so few leads to pursue. Though they didn't go out and drink and party, the girls were still very liked around town. They didn't seem as if they had any enemies or anyone who would want to hurt them. Then in June of that year, Victor Hansen, a neighbor of Pamela's, told Clay County Sheriff's Office about a phone call that he had overheard between Pamela and a man named David. Apparently, this David had slammed a car door on Pamela's hand.
Ouch.
I know. But with no last name for David, this tip wasn't able to be pursued, so therefore led nowhere.
As someone who slammed their thumb in the car door, That's painful.
It is painful. Oh my gosh, I saw this picture on Facebook or whatever, and it was a girl trying to open a door, like one of the Tesla doors, how you have to like push the handle. Her nail got stuck. Oh, hate it. Yeah, hate it. So a few other leads were briefly looked into, but ultimately nothing panned out. And this is how it remained for 25 years, a cold case that haunted South Dakota.
Wow.
Then in 2004, the Attorney General's office created a cold case unit. The first case the unit took was the case of Pamela Jackson and Cheryl Miller's disappearance. This new unit is what really helped reinvigorate the case as a potential homicide.
Wait. I'm sorry. I'm gonna need you to go back and start again. I zoned out and didn't hear what you said.
Mackenzie!
At least I fucking told you.
So in 2004,
Thank you.
the Attorney General's office created a cold case unit.
Okay.
The first case that they wanted to look into was the disappearance of Pamela Jackson and Cheryl Miller.
Okay.
So this new unit, after 25 years, is what helped reinvigorate the case as a potential homicide.
Okay.
Are we good?
Yep.
You focusing?
Mhm.
So in September of that year, a new suspect finally came through. An inmate told police that another inmate had confessed to the murder of Pamela and Cheryl. This inmate was David Lycan. Lycan was issued a search warrant in connection with the girls' disappearance. His family farm was close to where the girls disappeared, but not only that. He was imprisoned for rape and kidnapping and was a violent and angry man. His farm in Alcester was searched for the bodies or for any evidence that might indicate that Lycan was involved in the girls' disappearance. On his property, they found bones, clothing, a purse, photographs, newspaper articles, and other items, but nothing that connected him to the disappearance of the girls. But later it was revealed that the informant had lied about the alleged confession and the charges. The 2 counts of premeditated murder, 2 counts of felony murder, and 2 counts of murder against Lycan were dropped. But Lycan remains in prison where he is currently serving 225 years for rape, kidnapping, and burglary.
Jeez.
So just a different case.
Oof.
With this lead not panning out, the case again went cold. And again remained this way for another 9 years until 2013.
Ooh.
The Brule Creek near Elk Point had been flooded for years. But in 2013, a bad drought finally brought about answers. An angler was out fishing when he came upon something. He saw wheels poking out of the water of Brule Creek, next to the gravel pit where the girls had been heading years ago. What's wild is that the area around the bridge had been inspected every 2 years for at least 2 decades, and the Stubecker had never been found.
Oh.
When it was pulled out, Attorney General Marty Jekyll said that the girls' remains were found in the front seat of the car, the gear shift was in 3rd gear, the switch for the lights indicated that it had been on, and the keys remained in the ignition, which was switched on. Also, 1 tire was damaged. Miller's purse, which contained her driver's license, notes written by her classmates, and photographs, was found in the car as well. DNA finally helped to make the positive ID. It was ultimately determined that the girls had crashed into the creek and that no foul play had been involved.
What?
For 40 years, they never knew what happened to the girls.
Wow.
The discovery of the vehicle and the girls' remains finally allowed the families to receive the closure that they had been searching for since 1971.
I'm not gonna lie. If that was my family and they were finally found and no foul play, I would be relieved.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
be so relieved.
It said that a lot of the articles talked about like how, as awful as it is, the family is like happy to now have answers and to know
Sure.
what happened to the girls after all
Absolutely.
of these years.
Yeah.
South Dakota Attorney General's office was still trying to piece together what actually happened and how it happened, how these girls drove off the road just half a mile from their intended destination. The Sioux City Journal added that there was no evidence that alcohol was involved. The girls had visited Cheryl's grandmother in the hospital in Vermilion, then met up with the friends who they followed to the party in Alcester, so they wouldn't have had time to stop along the way to get alcohol.
Mhm.
And they weren't big drinkers. They weren't
Right. They weren't the type of people to do that.
correct. Exactly. One of the tires had very low tread, so the police speculate that a blown or flat tire may have caused the girls to swerve off the road. Or maybe they had poor visibility in the dark from the dust being kicked up from the cars in front of them, causing to miss a curve in the road. And this bridge was a newer bridge.
Okay.
So it wasn't like it wasn't a thing that they had driven on often to know really that it was there.
Okay.
One of the sad things, so like your case that you had last week where it was really sad with the father, I had to read this, so you have to hear it.
Okay.
So Pamela's father, Oscar, passed away at the age of 102,
Oh my lord.
just 5 days before their car was found.
No.
In his obituary, it indicated that one of the saddest parts of his life is not knowing what happened to his daughter, Pam.
He held on for 102
long.
years.
I know.
Oh, that's not fair.
I know.
That is not fair.
Ugh, I know. A similar story was happening in Custer County, Oklahoma, just a week before Cheryl and Pamela were found. The sheriff's deputies in Oklahoma were testing a new sonar device on a lake in western Oklahoma's Custer County when they came across two grim discoveries. They found two cars in Foss Lake, each with 3 bodies inside. One vehicle and its adult occupants had been missing since 1969. The other vehicle had 3 teenagers inside who had disappeared in 1970.
Wow.
Authorities in Oklahoma are still trying to figure out how these 2 cars ended up in the lake. All of this within the same time frame is so weird.
That is weird.
Finally, with the girls being found, many questions still remain. The main one, obviously, what happened? How did they end up in the creek? And how did a submerged vehicle go unnoticed for so long?
Yeah.
So apparently this isn't too unusual. In rural areas, it was common practice back then to submerge old cars or farm equipment along the banks of a creek to combat erosion. Isn't that the weirdest thing in the entire world?
I don't understand how it combats erosion.
I don't either. So if you're a farm person, let us know.
I know plants can combat erosion, but I didn't realize polluting the water did.
I have no idea. So what they're believing with this is the sight of a sunken car would not arouse too much suspicion.
Maybe a sunken car with 2 bodies in it should.
It was upside down. So
Oh.
only the wheels were up. So you couldn't see that anyone was in it.
But if you know someone is missing and you see a car, wouldn't you check?
You would think. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
But I will say for the longest time, the creek was always flooded.
Mm-hmm.
So it was never like it wouldn't have been seen.
Right.
But then when they had that drought,
And it
water levels
lowered.
dropped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I wasn't able to find an obituary on Pamela and Jackson, but I did find one on Cheryl. So Cheryl K. Miller was born on November 16th, 1953. She was known to be caring and well-liked. She was able to quickly make friends due to her outspoken and outgoing nature. While in school, she was active in the cheer squad and she enjoyed baton twirling. Friendship and loyalty were some of the most important things to her, and she was very dedicated to all who knew her.
Oh.
And that is the 40-year cold case finally solved of Pamela Jackson and Cheryl Miller. I know it's very short. I thought there would be a little bit more on it. But thankfully it's been solved, so there's not more on it.
And I feel like too, like the events leading up to their disappearance, I was like, I definitely assumed that something must have happened to their car.
Yeah, because
Like,
that was never found.
right. I assumed that something happened to their car and they had to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously they didn't get out, but initially I was like, oh, maybe they got out. Someone found them who was not a good person. And then when you talked about the farm guy, and I was like, oh, yeah, that makes complete sense.
Right.
Obviously, it didn't end up being him. But
There
I never
was-
would have thought that like the whole car would be submerged and
I
that they would still be
know.
in it.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, did they, like, get knocked out in the crash
Right.
or
Like that's the other thing
something?
too. What happened to where they couldn't get out?
Right.
If the car was upside down, then that to me says it flipped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something happened.
And what is this, 1971?
Mm-hmm.
When were seatbelts a thing?
That's actually a very interesting question. Let's look it up. Oh, the seatbelt law was passed in 1968.
Okay. That's 3 years
Well,
later.
all new passenger cars. So, okay, they were installed in 1968. Oh, but then this one would be a 1970 car.
No, it was
No, it was 1960.
1960 or 1960.
It was a 1960 Studebaker.
Yeah.
So if
It wouldn't have had
seatbelts,
seatbelts.
right, it wouldn't have had seatbelts. Ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, so very sad.
Very sad.
So sad about the dad.
Ugh.
I know. When I read that, I was like, oh, break my heart. And then, of course,
Not
like I
fair.
said, if I had to hear the heartbreak, you had to hear the heartbreak.
That's fair. I did it to you.
Exactly. I thought it was only fair.
Yeah.
All right, so that's South Dakota.
Yeah. More people move there and like, stir shit up.
No. I don't think they want stirred up shit.
Well, don't kill anyone, but like go to some haunted places and tell us
Oh,
what
yeah.
happens.
Then tell us about it.
Yeah. Come up with like an urban legend or something.
Yeah, like the other urban legend I covered.
Yeah.
La Mala Ora.
Just made up black cotton ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
If you rate and review us, please let us know. We'll send you a sticker. We still have some wonderful people doing, wow, that didn't sound right. Wonderful people doing that and sending us emails. So you guys will get your stickers in the mail soon.
Shout out to Ida May.
Yeah.
Love your name.
Yes.
That is beautiful name.
Yeah, it really is.
You will be getting a sticker as soon as I remember to put it together to send to you. And as our other sticker recipients can attest, sometimes that takes a minute, but
but it will get there.
We'll get there.
So yeah, I guess keep listening and stay scary.
And stay safe.